Folks, today on the Stoney Ridge Farm Channel, we're going to talk to you a little bit about what it takes to make beef, what it's like to raise your own beef on your own property and take it to the butcher shop. We're going to talk about pricing, the cuts, and everything you need to know. These are my cows, this is my farm, and we're going to have some fun today. We're going to learn a little bit about beef. All right, making yourself self-sustainable by raising your own food. Awesome.
Stoney Ridge Farm, Stoney Ridge, Stoney Ridge Farm. Woo!
Buffet's open, come on through. Woo! That's my cow song. Guys, welcome back to the Stoney Ridge Farm. If this is your first time here or your 50th time, please hit that like button. Today we're going to be showing you my first generation farm project here, and we're going to talk to you a little bit about what it entails to raise your own beef cow. We're going to talk about grass-fed and grass-finished beef. That's right, girl. These are my brood cows. The brood cows are the mama cows, and the baby cows are coming in behind them. So come along today as we talk to you about all the expenditures that it takes to raise grass-fed, grass-finished beef for your family. And stick around to the end. We'll talk to you a little bit about how you can buy beef right here off the Stoney Ridge Farm from our grass-fed operation. So every day on the farm, we move the cows twice a day in the summertime so that they get a fresh patch of grass and they're never grazing right next to their own manure. And that's how we afford the opportunity to not have to medicate and or worm or give our animals antibiotics. So what we're trying to do here is get away from medications and just have cows on grass and good pasture management and land management environmental practices. Come on through, guys. There goes Tammy. Tammy's our guard donkey. Come on through, don't worry. The young ones sometimes have a hard time negotiating their way through the gate. I don't know why. Let's see if I can push them through this way. There you go. That's a good cow. All right, guys, what you see around you right here is the Stoney Ridge Farm. About 12 years ago, I had the dream. I had a dream of building my first farm. I had a dream of building a first generation farm, and I was sick of the food industry in this country, and I'm still disgusted with it. What's pawned off as food nowadays is not food, okay? Go in the grocery store, if it's got 50 different ingredients, throw it in the trash and don't buy it. Don't buy that garbage, I'm telling you. That's my politics, that's my food rant. Out here on grass, without fertilizer, without medications, we don't treat the well, we only treat the sick, and we haven't had a sick cow. So let's just start with that. Today we're out here on pasture and we move our cows twice a day here in the summertime. We move them about every 3 days in the wintertime when we're feeding hay. We have stockpiled hay. This is a grass-fed, grass-finished beef operation right here. We've got about 50 cows right now, and 50 is about all my land will sustain. We're on a 150-acre farm with about 80-ish acres fenced, and we just fenced in another 20-something acres, so we're getting ready to expand our pastures. Super proud. No fertilizer on this green multi-species pasture in 7 years. 7 years without fertilizer, guys. Just butt fertilizer that comes out of those cows. We incorporated cattle into our operation about 3 years ago. Started out with 2, bumped it up to 4, and now we're at 50. That's a lot of walking savings account right there, and it's a lot of walking insurance for food. So let's go over here by the cows a little bit. We'll have them in the background. We'll talk to you a little bit about what it costs to raise a cow, how we raise these cows, and what it takes to take a steer from a baby all the way to the freezer. And this is reality, guys, and if you're out of touch with reality and you don't understand that meat comes from living things, not from a 3D printer and not from the fake stuff that they're coming out with nowadays, then I'm sorry you don't understand that, but you're out of touch with reality in my opinion. And I don't know, you guys share your opinion. What do you think about fake meat? Factory made fake meat. Tell me about it. That's what we're against. That's what we're trying to get away from. we're raising animals out here and healing the land. So let's go over to the cows and we'll talk to you about what it takes and what it costs to raise a cow, grass-fed, grass-finished, from start to finish, and learn something. So what you guys are here for, this is called a beef cut sheet. Let me be ultimately clear. I cannot, and no farmer can legally sell beef that they've processed on their own if it's not USDA inspected. All of the beef that comes off of this farm that is offered for sale is USDA inspected and is processed in a USDA inspected facility. The beef cut sheet, we're gonna pop it up on the screen a little bit for you and try to put some arrows on some things. We have the option of all of our cuts. So we've got brisket, ribs, short ribs, skirt steak, flank steak, flat iron steak. Then we have roast. We can choose from our own roast or they can just pick the best roast. We have chuck roast, pot roast, sirloin tip, eye of round, chuck pot, London broil, tri-tip, and rump roast. What we chose was sirloin, I do believe, yeah, sirloin tip, and chuck roast and pot roast, I do believe. We have very limited supply of roast because they are about 3.5 pounds when they are processed. Now on to steaks. We have T-bone, New York strip, filet mignon, ribeye, sirloin, and cube steak. Cube steak is a less than palatable, chewy meat that's ran through a process that tenderizes the meat. So it's tenderized steak. In other words, it's like country fried or chicken fried steak. That's how you make it, okay? So we do have cube steak. We did do some sirloin steaks, ribeyes, fillets, New York strip, and T-bones. Once we get this up on the Stoney Ridge Farmer website, we'll offer it for sale for you guys. So we also have stew beef, beef tips, and hamburger. All these are under the other category. Hamburger we can get in hamburger patties or we can just get it ground. We do an 80-20 split, so 80% lean. In other words, 20% fat. The fat is the little slice of heaven from the grass-fed beef. The fat here is different. The fat is better for you, arguably. There'll be links down in the video description for you guys if you want to do a little research on the fat from grass-fed beef that's pasture raised versus the fat from beef that's raised on feedlots. And typically what happens with beef is farmers will raise beef in a cow-calf operation. They'll take their calves at about 400 to 600 pounds-ish to the market. They'll sell them, they'll be loaded up on a truck, and they'll be taken to a feedlot and fattened up for about 12 to 18 months, something like that, typically close to 18 months. Now, we also have some other options here. We have beef bratwurst, which we chose not to do. We did beef chorizo, we have that option. We have beef meatloaf and beef Salisbury steak. On the cut sheet, the beef chorizo cost an extra 50 cents per pound. So does the Salisbury steak, so does the meatloaf, and the brats cost an extra $1.05 per pound. Hamburger patties cost an extra 50 cents per pound to patty those out. Now our hamburger patties come in about 1.5 pound package. If you decide to process beef, that's what you'll probably get. Again, it costs just a little bit more. You get to order it in percentage or number of pounds, okay? Now we can keep the bones for beef bones to make beef broth, liver, tongue, oxtail, heart, kidney, and testicles if applicable. If you want bones, it asks you how many bags. So all of this is processed by weight. That's where we go to the second page that we have here. We process 3 beeves. So we'll use beeves as, or beefs as the terminology for what we processed here. You can see they're all pretty shy. They're all right over here now. So we processed 3 beeves. Beef processing, we'll just go into this for you. 541 pounds was the weight of one cow at $1.15 per pound. So the cost to process that cow was $622.15. There is a harvest room fee. In other words, there's a fee for the butcher shop to dispatch the animal appropriately and humanely. The saying at the beef processor that I go to is processed with care, guys, and these guys take the ultimate care. It's not like you see on all the documentaries that they're running them through some horrible, horrible place. It's not horrible, it's not cruel, it's quick, it's painless, it's just bam, and it's done, guys. Our beef does not get stressed prior to processing. That's something that's super important, okay? We're all about low stress animal handling. Okay, so we talk about what we did here, hamburger patties. We had 26.15 pounds and add 50 cents per pound, so it was $13.08 to get our hamburger patties done. Okay, Salisbury steak, we did 50 pounds of that at extra 50 cents, that's 25 bucks. Salisbury steak seasonings in there too, it's 5 bucks. Beef processing for the next cow, 671 pounds. Now, when I talk about this, the beef processing, so 671 pounds at $1.15 is $771.65. The harvest room fee for a cow that was 601 to 900 pounds is $100. The harvest room fee for under 600 pounds is $90. In other words, there's a kill fee of 90 bucks if they're under 600 pounds, and then there's a kill fee of 100 bucks if they're above 600 pounds, between 600 and 900. And if you've got a massive cow that's like over 900 pounds, I think it's 125. But that's something that you need to know if you're deciding to raise your own beef. So again, we had the seasoned stuff, which is meatloaf, Salisbury steak, and chorizo, and that adds a few extra dollars on there. So all in all, saying that cost for a 671 pound cow at $1.15 covers all of your cuts. It covers your steaks, it covers your ribeyes, it covers your fillets, it covers your hamburger, but it doesn't cover the patty fee, the fee for the patties. Guys, you may see some flies out here. This is not your living room. This is a farm, and our cows don't get sprayed for flies. They don't receive a systemic fly medication. They get grass. That's it. Some cows have flies on them and some don't. Some are more resistant to parasites and some aren't. That's just something that's important to know about grass-fed beef that we raise here on the farm. All in all, saying we processed 3 cows. The first one was 541 pounds, the next one was 671 pounds, and the next one was 679 pounds. All in all, after all the cost, our price was $2,935. Believe it or not, we wanted a private label on our beef that says Stoney Ridge Farmer Beef, and that private label cost us 300 bucks just to have the label made. Now the label's there forever and ever, and from now on we'll have that done. It was a one-time fee. So that's what it cost to have a cow processed locally where I live. Now you can compare this, and you can go to your local butcher shop or your local abattoir, which is a slaughterhouse, fancy word for slaughterhouse, and you can find the price sheets and the cut sheets for your local place. And I would say that the prices are probably going to be pretty comparable depending on the location that you live. Let's talk about grass-fed versus grain-fed and the time that it takes to raise out and the choices that you have to make when you're taking these cows to the butcher. So you notice the weights of the cows. They were between 540 pounds and 680 pounds-ish. Dressed out. The cow itself probably weighed close to 900 to 1,000 pounds. Each cow probably weighed about that much. Typical feedlot beef is going to take 12 to 18 months, maybe a little bit longer, maybe a little bit less, to raise out to processing. Typical beef that's raised on a feedlot is given an antibiotic in their feed, which helps them to grow faster. They are given a steroid either in their food or in a little injectable in their ear or underneath their skin, which stimulates growth. In other words, we leave the testicles on our animals until our animals are much larger. We don't castrate them at birth. A lot of operations do that. We want to use that hormone that's naturally occurring in the animal to help that animal to grow. It only makes sense, right? So our animals have more natural immunity. They have more of the natural growth hormone, and they have less outside inputs. We don't have to give them steroids. We don't have to give them antibiotics. We don't feed them grain, and we don't have to give them medications to keep them healthy and keep them from getting pneumonia, because they don't live in a dusty, crowded feedlot where they're standing in places where they pooped. It only makes sense, guys. If you eat where you poop, you get sick. These animals are on a section of pasture for about 12 hours. They never have an opportunity to eat next to their own manure, and therefore we don't have to medicate them. How much sense does this make? Now, you can't feed the world like that. Bull, I call bull crap. There is so much vacant and unused land that's not fenced out there. When you're driving down the highway next time, just look out at all the land that's out there that is just unused. We can do this as a nation, and you vote with your dollar when you buy feedlot beef out of the grocery store. That's my politics. Again, I tell you, I just want us to have good food, good clean food. So that being said, the average cow on a feedlot, 12 to 18 months-ish, something like that. It just depends on the animal and how much steroid and antibiotic they feed them, right? Now, the average grass-fed and or grass-finished beef is going to take anywhere from 18 to 24 up to 32 months to raise out. So it takes longer to raise these hand-raised beef cows. That's Donnie the bull right there, by the way. It takes longer. It takes more energy. We don't have a factory system. So in other words, the cows get loaded up into a trailer. They're taken to the lot where they will be processed, and they stay overnight. The next morning, they're dispatched, and then they process them. They hang for about 15 days, just like any other beef that you would buy in the grocery store, and they age the beef. So this is what you need to know. They'll give you a call or an email the morning that your beef is done, let you know. You can come and pick it up. You come and pick it up, you write them a check, you load it up, you take a bunch of coolers, or you do what I did and insulate the entire vehicle that you take them in, and I loaded a whole truckload of beef in and brought it to the house. Now, a lot of questions I get about grass-fed beef. There are people that don't know how to process and or raise and or choose the right time of year to butcher grass-fed beef. When is the time of year to butcher grass-fed beef? When the grass is at its peak. That is when you process grass-fed beef. So what we do here on the farm is we will process this year 1 time. Next year we will process 3 times. We will hit it in the spring flush, we will get midsummer, and then we will get a fall processing, and that's where the beef will become available. If you're interested in Stoney Ridge Farmer beef, or if you're interested in raising your own beef, I hope this was good information. There is a link to our Patreon site. We will be offering beef to the public, not via Patreon soon. However, right now there's very limited supply, and we have a Patreon co-op down below. You can click that. You can become a member. It helps support the farm. It helps to buy the hay, and it helps to bring nature and natural ways back to healing the land. I'm looking back because never trust a bull. Never turn your back on a bull. They're always a little bit aggressive, and they've got that testosterone, so you gotta keep your eyes peeled when you're around a bull. Guys, I hope this information helped you a whole lot. We will be offering seed stock. In other words, if you want to buy a cow, if you're local here in North Carolina, South Carolina, Virginia, Georgia, and you want to buy a cow and bring it to your place, you are very welcome to post a comment down there, and or you can go on to StoneyRidgeFarmer.com, shoot me an email, and we can talk about that. I'm not sure what we're going to do at this point with that, but this is my farm. This is a first-generation farm, and we're raising our animals the way I believe they were intended to be raised. Guys, thank you so much. Please hit that like button, subscribe to the channel. I hope you enjoyed this video. By the way, the coop that you saw me moving a little bit earlier in the video is our mobile coop. It's pasture sanitation. So chickens go in behind the cows, scratch through the manure, spread it out on the land, eat all the worms and bugs, and the byproduct is chicken fertilizer. In other words, that stuff that comes out the back of the chicken is awesome for the grass. So there'll be green patches everywhere. Once we get this incorporated in, we'll have 3 egg mobiles. The byproduct is eggs and fertilizer, and the chickens get to scratch through the poop. It makes them happy. Guys, thanks a lot. Hit that like button on your way out the door. We'd love to have you back. There'll be more links at the end of this video. If you'd like to watch some more Stoney Ridge Farmer content, I'd love to have you. We do all kinds of fun stuff, everything country, and then a little bit more. Take care, guys. We'll see you next time on the Stoney Ridge. Woo! Woo! Woo, girls!
Come on down to the Stoney Ridge. Bring your wife, bring your kids. We're living life pure and sweet. That's the way it's supposed to be, Stoney Ridge.
And stick around, fly. Cool, electric fence hung under the machine. Now it's hung around my leg. Got the fence hung around my leg, dude. I'm like a not so bright cow today. Hopefully I didn't tear the fence up just now. Think I did. Pretty sure I did. Can tell I did. Gotta go hook it back up. You broke the fence, dummy. Oopsie.